championship, and there's still one race to run. Pete Halsmer, he's starting 5th. He's also sore. It's been hard on his body and his car so far this weekend. Robbie Gordon, right back from Baja. He was a winner the first time he ever drove an IMSA car, and this is his first visit to Del Mar. Bryce Cobb, one of the best ever GTP racers we've seen, but this will be the first time he ever straps into a GTO car. Are you ready? We're going racing at Del Mar. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Today, about 20 miles north of San Diego at the fairgrounds in Del Mar, it's time for the Chevron GTO GTU Challenge, the season finale. Hello, everyone. I'm Bruce Flanders, along with David Hobbs. We'll be bringing you the action. And, David, it's been a beautiful weather weekend, but it's been tough on some of our front runners.
Well, of course, these street circuits that are only used once a year are very, very slippery the first day, and yesterday afternoon had its crop of accidents. One of them was Pete Halsmer, running 2nd in the championship, had a coming to go with the wall, took himself and his car off to hospital for the night, but he's back today, although he's looking a bit second-hand at the moment. And Dorsey Schrader, our new champion, he's hurting badly from an accident 2 weeks ago, and he's all strapped up. So these guys are going to have a hard day today with all this gear shifting on this tight track.
Now this has opened the door, and we've got a brand new front row with the same mark.
We have. The two Nissans have got a very good lead. They're second clear of the field, both of them on the front row, so it's going to be a good afternoon for Steve Millen and Jeremy Dale.
Now, let's take a look at the rest of the grid. As the front row goes away and they're under the pace car control, Dorsey Schrader and Les Lindley make up row number 2. There's Pete Halsmer and the Baja specialist Robbie Gordon in row number 3. Back to row number 4. The first of the U cars, Bill Oberlin, quickest qualifier in the U category, and Don Knowles, then Neil Hanneman and Bob Patch. And this is quite a lineup today, David.
It is. David Loring there is wanting to take 2nd spot in the under category. That also has already gone to... and Bob Finger there is going to be after him as well for that same position. Bryce Cobb down there, the number 63 Mazda. He ran very well Friday morning in practice, but didn't qualify well. So look for him to come to the field.
And those A's after those numbers, the AAC category. So there's actually 3 categories on the racetrack at one time today.
Yeah, it's going to be very busy out there because this is a narrow track. It's a 10-turn corner, although I make it 17. Change the direction. Bart Kendall is driving instead of his father, who was also injured the other day.
All right, Bart Kendall, the older brother of the Kendall brothers who have done so well. They are warming them up. We're getting ready for a green flag here in Del Mar in just a little while. Stay with us. Today's Speed World coverage of the Chevron GTO GTU Challenge is brought to you by Nissan, built for the human race. By Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil. And by Budweiser, the king of beers. Remember, know when to say when. And brought to you by Mazda. It just feels right. We're coming back. It'll be green flag when you join us once again here in Del Mar, California. Well, the pace car, it's the IMSA GTO GTU Challenge, their season finale, David Hobbs. And those two Nissans have been quick so far.
Extremely quick. Over a second quicker, 1.5 seconds quicker than the second row. And so both these guys must be feeling high. Steve Millen, very, very accomplished and very experienced. Jeremy Dale in really his first year of big-time racing. Following the pace car around, pace car lights out, coming up to the start. It's a tricky approach to the start.
A potential green as they come off. Yes, pace car is gone. Heads up. We're looking at them as they come down to turn number 1. The flag is green, and we are racing now.
Steve Millen on your left.
And Dorsey Schrader trying to get that Mercury up there in it. The Mazda, Pete Halsmer, comes off of the corner in the 5th place spot. Oh, so far turn 1 a clean one as the field of 35-odd cars goes by us underneath. And Dorsey Schrader and Les Lindley in the yellow Camaro are pressuring to try and break up that Nissan pair.
Ooh, close to the wall there for one of those Mazdas. The 75 car of Millen pulling away. Schroeder there, Les Lindley.
And the first of the U cars just went by too, the 00 car.
Pete Halsmer and Schrader have got to have a bit of a question mark by them because of their physical health today, because they really have taken a pummeling in the last couple of weeks.
Okay, now wait a minute. What was that enormous shower of sparks? Was that
well, somebody's using some bumper plates there. That's just going over this very rough, this track here. The car bottom out there full of fuel, and I suppose it's just as low as they can get it, and it's just touching the track there.
All right, so just a skid plate.
I don't think it's a problem, no. It's a skid plate, yeah.
All right, the two Nissan, whoa, out of shape is the one called Jeremy Dale.
You're doing too much Barbasar driving.
And a tight section through the racetrack right there.
Actually, you know, you might have a point. His car does seem to be dragging rather excessively, doesn't it?
Just the one time it flashed that way. You're looking at Steve Millen, your leader.
Steve Millen's laying a lot of sparks there. You see the front of the car under braking there, picking up the track.
Watching Millen as he comes by, and Jeremy Dale now under the pressure from Schrader. Les Lindley feeling the heat from the white Mazda right there of Pete Halsmer.
Very much so. And Robbie Gordon right behind him. Robbie Gordon likes this sort of a circuit. He's very good. He was very good in San Antonio until he actually got taken out by Schrader. There we see a good shot from inside
Pete Halsmer's car.
Pete Halsmer's car.
Number 1 Mazda. That's Les Lindley's brake lights right in front of you.
Les giving the brakes a tap as he goes through that turn 4 section.
By the way, for those of you that may not have watched much IMSA GTO racing over the season, this is a sprint race. It is 1 hour, less than that left now, and there will be no pit stops by the winner. At least that's our expectation.
Halsmer going down the inside there of Les Lindley as they come into the turn 7.
The big sweeper, and Halsmer has improved himself 1 spot. Now, Robbie Gordon will try and follow him through, don't you suspect?
Absolutely, and I also suspect that Pete Halsmer will pull away quite rapidly from Les Lindley.
You're back on board with Halsmer, and there is Gordon going right underneath Lindley at that tight portion of the racetrack. And he takes over, moves himself up another spot. It's Millen in front, Dale in second, Schrader third, Robbie Gordon fourth, and Les Lindley now 5th place.
Now then, will they be able to catch up with that leading trio? There's no doubt about it that Jeremy Dale running in 2nd spot.
Front man,
definitely
right
holding up Schrader.
Yeah, Schrader is tucked in underneath him, boy, really trying to get by. The Whistler Cougar in the 3rd place spot, chasing the sparks flying off of both of those Nissans.
A lot easier said than done to overtake here at Del Mar, but there's no doubt about it that both those Nissans are running very, very close to the ground. In fact, all 3 of these cars are.
You know, it's interesting, too, to note that here we are on a paved circuit, and both of these drivers have won championships in the Mickey Thompson Off-Road Grand Prix circuit. They're familiar with dirt or asphalt.
And this, actually, the asphalt here is very, very slick, and it's a very tight, tricky course. So, in some ways, it plays into the hands of both Gordon and Steve Millen. Steve Millen not really pulling away substantially, though, from his teammate, Jeremy Dale.
$76,500 total up for this particular race. The 2 Nissans out-qualified the field, and at the moment here in the early stages, they're outrunning all of them but Schrader.
I think if Schrader gets around Jeremy, he'll be off in hot pursuit. There we see Pete Halsmer and the Mazdas definitely catching up to this leading trio. We could be in for a real duke out when they all get together.
Good look at the Whistler Cougar of Schrader as it goes by. And as we have pointed out, you may be just joining us, Dorsey Schrader, from an incident in Tampa just a while back, has got to be sore physically.
Well, he's got a hairline fracture of his shoulder blade, and so he's well and truly strapped up. And there's a lot of work around here.
Now let's look back. Find the number 63 car, Bryce Cobb, who's running in the 7th place spot. This is his first ever GTO race. He's been a GTP champion in a lot of different cars.
He's coming up through the field. That's the thing. He ran very well on Friday, and then yesterday's qualifying time was about 7 seconds slower than he'd done in the morning. So we know he's got the time in himself and the car.
He looks lonely.
I don't think he feels very lonely.
I mean, there's nobody around him. He's like driving around in a vacuum at the moment.
I'll tell you, the more lonely you are in places like this, the better I am. Thanks very much.
Okay. Well, he's coming up to the sweeper right here. Number 63. Effectively an identical car to Pete Halsmer's, but a new learning experience for Bryce Cobb. Bryce, who drove the Jaguars up until just a few weeks ago.
The Mazda people putting a very big effort into this GTO effort, and of course, nearly pulled it off.
And Schrader has now infiltrated that Nissan pair that's been leading it. Millen is still in front, but moved Jeremy Dale to the 3rd place spot and put the champion in the 2nd slot. And look at the number 1 of Halsmer. He's not exactly letting them get away. Ooh, there's some moisture now.
Oh, that looks slick to me. Woo, 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 woo. Gordon.
Somebody has to have had a motor let go or something.
See the 43 car? Oh, Vince Bellotti.
Yeah, that's him. They're passing right now. He's the one who laid down the moisture. They all get by, so the track in front of them should be dry.
Yes, never assume the track in front is dry until you actually get there.
Yeah, possibly. The one I'm watching is Schrader. He's trying to make a move right now on Millen, but here comes traffic again. And at the same time, the Mazda has made this a foursome.
That's the slower car there, offline there. The Mazda going down the inside of Jeremy Dale didn't quite manage to pull that off. This is the turn 7. Hanging right in there on the outside, trying to go around the outside of Jeremy Dale. That's not going to work either, because they're coming into this left-hander here.
The front four, Millen, then the Whistler car, then the other Nissan of Jeremy Dale, and here comes the number 1 up on him again. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. You talk about a sore body. The guy driving the number 1 car, Pete Halsmer, must have one.
Ken Painter and his Chevrolet Camaro about to be put down a lap by the leaders. Yeah, it's hard for them, of course. It's hard for the back markers here to really stay out of the way. I mean, where are they going to go? There's not a lot of room for them to just sort of disappear off the face of the earth.
We're going in car now with our GTU leader. This should be Don Knowles, if I am not mistaken. Go through the turn. Whoa, heads up. Right front wheel definitely on fire.
Well, that's the number 42 car of Bob Patch and his Corvette.
The number 24 car off the course and stopped. That's Troy Rowland out of Lake Elsinore, California, and he climbed over the roof and got the heck away from that spot. Oh, no wonder he did. There go the leaders right by.
Woo. They could be waving that flag just a little bit more enthusiastically than that, in my opinion.
Just probably a very good call that way. All right, Troy motioning to the corner workers for something. I think he wants a set of dikes so he can cut a hole in the fence.
See,
right there.
The corner worker there is telling the drivers to come towards me. That the lady corner worker there gesticulating with her arms to get the drivers away from that because they don't know what's just around the corner.
That's your leaders under the Nissan bridge.
Looks like we've gone to a full course yellow here.
That is the report we are now getting. All the way around, yellow flags will be standing. That should mean the pace car. In fact, from our position, we can see the pace car going out on the racetrack, and it will intercept Steve Millen here, your leader, number 75. Just as he comes through turn 1, you should see the pace car. There it is. And now we're under control of the pace car. Yellow flag condition, the first, hopefully the only, of Del Mar. The leader's setting you up. Steve Miller, number 75, leads it. Number 6, Dorsey Schrader is second. 76, Jeremy Dale is third. And we're going to be coming back to Del Mar with the Chevron GTU Challenge. There's the way the top 5 sit after 6 laps. Come on back.
Incident. But this Lee Dykstra chassis, similar to many on the IMSA Tour and much like a NASCAR short track car, can be ready to race Saturday thanks to today's designs. The steel tube chassis is relatively protective and unbent. As the crew works to replace bent and broken pieces, you'll notice that everything that absorbed the impact bolts to the chassis. This type of design is called frangible link. This A-arm unbolts at these heim joints. It can be bent, discarded, and a new one installed. And this car can be racing 24 hours after impact.
And it is just about 24 hours after impact, and you are riding in that very same car with Pete Halsmer. And at the moment, you're sitting 4th in this field, and we're still under a yellow flag, but a potential green as they come off the corner, Dave.
And you can see the sun is getting really low in the sky for these guys. Halsmer's windscreen been pitted already by the gravel around here and oil.
Green
Coming
flag
up for the flag, and visibility is difficult. Now then, Schrader, second spot. Is he going to try and take, well?
Big passing point here at turn 1, but nobody tried the big pass. And Schrader slides right up underneath Millen, our front runner. It's a Nissan in front, a Mercury Cougar in the second place spot, trying a much different line through that corner. It gets off the corner well.
Car there dragging bodywork, I see out the window. They're going to have him off the track, or we'll be having another full course yellow. 3 leaders.
Now Jeremy Dale closes up on the second place of Dorsey Schrader, and sparks are flying out of all of them under braking as they got these cars set up so low and go through the kink right there. Out onto the fastest portion of this racetrack. It is still the Nissans running 1st and 3rd, the Mercury in the 4th place spot, and the Mazda of Halsmer the Mazda of Halsmer in 4th. And once again, Schrader and Millen are using completely different lines.
Schrader there trying to go right around the outside. If it works, it's great, but it's a long way to go.
Now this is a tough section. You can't go too wide through here.
But you want to make sure this one here, this last right-hander, is absolutely as good as you can get it, because this is your real best spot for overtaking right here. So you want to be as close to him and accelerating better than him down the straight, so that you can try and nail him on braking into that turn 1 area. It didn't work that time.
The top 5 cars were all in the same camera shot at the same time, and in fact the 5th place car of Robbie Gordon is suddenly up on Pete Halsmer and wants to rearrange their running order. We're going to go down into the pit area. We've got a report from Chris Economaki.
Well, that burning Southern California sun that the Chamber of Commerce and the tourists like so much is not liked by racing drivers. It's a double whammy here. It's in the driver's eyes. If you look at Steve Millen's car, you'll see that his windshield is taped over more than halfway from the top down. His visibility is very limited, and on the back side of the track, the beating hot sun on new asphalt is making it oily and slippery. The sun is a problem today. Now let's go down pit road to my colleague, Mike Joy.
Thank you, Chris, and hello, everybody. Johnny O'Connell has been testing for the Cunningham team and qualified this car in the field in case it was needed by Steve Millen or Jeremy Dale. How's it feel to be standing here in pit lane?
Needless to say, I'd much rather be out there having a little bit of fun. The car was working real nice this morning. We ran into some problems yesterday in qualifying. Ended up being, I think we were 14th or 15th on the grid, and made the changes to the car. It came better. I think that the people in Nissan were a bit upset that here myself and Price Cobb had gone out and worked hard yesterday to be up in the field, and then they put Robbie Gordon and Halsmer in front of us, and they didn't do a time at all. I think that might have had something to do with why, you know, this car is sitting here.
Well, glad to see you have a ride. Sorry you're standing here. Bruce, to clarify, the Halsmer car that crashed and Gordon, who was not here, those cars were slotted in the field where they might have qualified by IMSA, even though they did not post a time.
All right, that brings us all up to speed. Once again, the top 5 remain the same players.
They do indeed. I must admit that gridding was somewhat mysterious to me as well. I guess anybody that has the car put in front of them is going to get peeved about it. So I don't think we've probably heard the last of that little episode. But anyway,
Steve Millen is about to catch traffic. And David, as you pointed out once before, traffic on this racetrack can be brutal.
it can be extremely difficult traffic here. They've caught it at the right place down the back straightaway, well, the front straight. And of course, are they all going to be able to get around him? Probably not. That's the car that stopped on the front straight during the caution. We went away for commercial, and that car stopped on the front straight and extended the caution by another lap. We're not quite sure what happened to it because suddenly burst into life and shot off again. Anyway, there we see the front 3, 4, 5 cars.
Millen with the lead. Chasing him is Schrader. Then comes Jeremy Dale. Then Pete Hausmer in that white car going by. And just now popping into your screen is Robbie Gordon. Robbie Gordon's had a busy weekend. Nobody drives the Baja 1000 on Saturday and then comes, or excuse me, on Friday and Saturday, then comes back Saturday afternoon to race pavement.
Well, he's going well, but he's losing the ground just a little bit now to Pete Halsmer. Pete Halsmer just staying stationed there with Jeremy Dale. Again, no, Schrader right up now with Steve Millen.
I was wondering, is Millen backing him off? I mean, Millen is obviously aware that he is there, right? Is he trying to back him off?
Well, I think what he's doing is Steve Millen is just using all the road that he wants and trying to make sure that he doesn't let Schrader get alongside him at any strategic points whereby Schrader could then force his way to the front.
That's Bill Fuller out of Kinder, Louisiana, that they are just blowing by. All the top 5 get him in the front straightaway, and re-entering from the pit area is one of the Dodge GTU cars. Wouldn't have wanted to pit at that point with the GTU.
Rather unfortunate, he slotted himself in between, right in the middle of that lead bunch.
Here is your GTU leader, the companion car to that. That's 00 Don Knowles that you're looking at now. But he has a companion car out there, the 07 car, Neil Hanneman. And it was Neil that was getting in the middle of things. And now we've got one stopped on the racetrack just
Same
beyond
one
us.
again, number 87. He stopped just around turn 1 in a pretty embarrassing place for all these guys as they come into turn 2.
You're on board with Don Knowles right now. He's on the backside of the course from what we know will create a yellow flag incident once more. And Knowles with no traffic in front of him. Ooh, here's another one, the 01 car. That's Perry and Henry out of Alpine, California. And I think his heartbeat of America is having some cardiac problems.
Looks like it's had an overdose of cholesterol, so they'll be black flagging him as well, for sure. They'll be calling him in. No, I think he's coming in on his own anyway.
And the leaders are coming right by that line at the very same time. And at the start-finish line, they did not put a yellow flag out. It is not a full course yellow, but as the leaders come by, watch what's on the course just in front of them now. That's 87 Palaio that is parked there, driver's right, in what I don't myself consider a very safe spot, but I don't run this event.
No, it's in a very bad spot. And of course, the thing is, you get blindsided coming out of turn 1, you wouldn't see it there.
But you can't let up. Not if you're Steve Millen. Dorsey Schrader will use you up in a moment, won't he?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, you got to keep pressing right along, but if you're going past some lap traffic and you just lose,
John Winthrop in the number 15 car.
Oh,
right
he's
there.
made himself popular, getting right in front, going through this very tricky series of corners here. He could lose Jeremy Dale there. He could lose him 4 or 5 seconds at the very least, just in that one corner complex.
Well, John Winthrop finally moved over when he had enough room to let him on by. And here is a big move underneath by Halsmer, it looked like. And he is by Jeremy Dale.
And Robbie Gordon nearly made it too, but didn't quite.
That's the battle for the third place spot on the grid as the number...
Jeremy Dale was the first one of the cars that got held up by Winthrop, and it slowed him up more than the others, who could look and gauge just a little bit better than he could, and they nailed him after they'd got past the slower car.
First and second are already out of your picture, but here comes third, fourth, and fifth all together. Turn one, a right-hander. And the car is gone that was right there. Let's take a replay of this one.
Halsmer on the brakes there really gets the car absolutely crossed right up. And luckily for him, Dale at that particular time runs right into the back of the Winthrop car, which allows Halsmer to make up that time. But boy, Halsmer did a great saving job on that one. That was a really, really good save.
Let's take a look at this. Here's the way the top 10 run on the racetrack at the moment. We're going to be coming back to Del Mar for the rest of the Chevron GTO GTU Challenge. California, you are looking at the Chevron GTO GTU Challenge, and it is the battle for the lead right there, deeply embroiled in traffic. At the moment in front, 75, Steve Millen still holds it. Schrader is all over him like a bad coat of paint, and Pete Halsmer won't let either one of them go.
Oh, the traffic in California is absolutely thick and fast, but boy, here this afternoon, it's absolutely hair-raising.
On the outside,
Schrader tries that outside line.
And again, it doesn't work.
He must pick up, there must be dust and rolled up rubber and grit and stuff out there offline, I'd have thought.
Well, it's been a busy
But
weekend.
he makes a good run at him there.
This racetrack has had an awful lot of equipment around it. As you're watching the third place car, Pete Halsmer in the number 1, not far off the pace. And I got one spun right here, but continues right underneath our feet in the booth as we look at the battle for the lead coming back at you. Millen, Schrader, brakes on, turn 1, they go through. Behind him, Halsmer.
And only just out of the picture is Robbie Gordon and, of course, Jeremy Dale. I mean, these top 5 cars are still running very, very closely together. The traffic being the discerning factor at the moment. There's 96, that's David Loring. He was the one that had a big half spin in front of us. He's obviously got some sort of a problem. He was having a heck of a dice there for the lead of the GTU category.
It's a Nissan in front, a Mercury in second, a Mazda in third, and the manufacturer's battle is one that these guys follow closely. For more on that, let's join Chris Economaki on the pit lane.
Well, thank you. The people in the stands around here are watching what they consider a sporting event. But on this asphalt pit road, it's a business situation. Top officials from Nissan, from Ford, from Mazda, and from Dodge are all here with their fingers crossed about how well their nameplates are going to do. But then they have the tire companies, Goodyear, Firestone, and Yokohama, all hoping that their particular product goes up. It's no fun on pit road if you're in the business.
You've watched number 75, Steve Millen, as Quist was giving us that report. Millen spinning right there in the sweeper. That has put Dorsey Schrader in front. And watch this move as Robbie Gordon tries to make the Mercury second place also. He does. He gets underneath Halsmer smoothly.
Very smoothly, actually. Halsmer let him go by. Most un-Halsmer-like, I might add. But he did let him go by without putting up much of his trouble. Of course, we don't know. Pete may be having a problem with his brakes. Oh, another parked car there in a bad spot. Just before that left-hand apex. That could bring out a...
Robbie Gordon. Gordon's driving the wheels off of this thing. He takes away the lead from his teammate and just charges away from him.
Boy, he did that well, too. Robbie Gordon really slipped back to 5th spot at one stage there. But now he's really got the bit between his teeth. And putting a lot of ground between himself and his lead.
Here's a replay of the incident of what happened to our leader, Steve Millen. Watch closely in the very center.
He got just tagged slightly by Dorsey Schrader there as they came around the inside. Spun himself around. I don't think it hit him very hard, just enough to upset him, because when you're on the brakes there, the back of the car obviously gets very light. All the weight transfers to the front wheels. And that's the time to try and just tip somebody off, which Dorsey Schrader did with consummate skill and ease.
I noticed also that the number 95 car, Bob Leitzinger, decided he wasn't going to collect Millen.
Oh, Robbie Gordon lining up the right front there. That's the unloaded tire as you come into the turn there, that right-hander. And as you brake right into the corner, the front wheel gets light as you start to turn in, and locks them up. And that's all very well, as long as you don't flat spot them too much. 2 cars parked there on this back straight.
We're back now. We're in with the GTU leader. This is our camera car on GTU, and in front of that category is the number 00, Don Knowles. That's who you're riding with. Not far behind him is John Finger in the number 38 car. But Knowles leading in the under 3-liter category, or the smaller motors. Now you're back on the 2 teammates. And this was what surprised me as I flashed back onto the idea of the way Robbie Gordon pulled off that pass. Are you sure they both work for the same guy?
Well, I think in the way they didn't run into each other, they do, but I think Schrader must have had a momentary lapse of some sort of problem, couldn't get into shift, couldn't get into gear or something.
Millen with problems. Millen is in the parking lot now. And apparently Steve Millen, who was our early leader, is now done.
I can't bear people who use up 2 parking spaces just so that other cars won't ding their doors.
Watch the battle for second place. You watch Gordon go by, and here comes Schrader. And now once again, Halsmer, who's been all over everybody all day but unable to pull off a pass, is right up on the back, or was for a moment on the back of Schrader. Now Schrader's on Gordon again. That's your top 3 cars, all on the screen at the one time. Mercury, and Mazda now.
Braking hard into that turn 7, which you approach around a left-hand sweeper. It's very difficult to brake down hard there. You can see the sun, what it's doing to our camera lens. Well, it's doing the same sort of thing to their vision as well. Very, very tricky as the sun sinks into the west here in Del Mar.
Yeah, he's pointed right to the beach now. In fact, if he goes off at the end of this straightaway, a couple of 100 yards, he'd be in the surf. This is the biggest braking point on the racetrack, right here for turn 1, the right-hander. Once again, you're on board with Halsmer. We're going to be coming back. 24 laps are in the book. Join us again in Del Mar. Number 9, Robbie Gordon, who has taken over the lead. Now, let's take a look at we're beyond the halfway point. So here's our Audi race recap. Leader, number 9, Robbie Gordon. He's led 2 only of the 24 laps we've run. We've been under caution 1 time for a 6-lap total. 15 cars are currently on the lead lap, and our speed average has dropped tremendously from the original 80 miles an hour to about 65.2. Again, up in the corner there you see Robbie Gordon, Master Gordon, going through turn 1. And he has been a busy guy. Out of the race so far, Bob Patch in a fiery thing. He's okay. Troy Mueller is out. And Vic Manueli, about the lowest budget in the racetrack, has broken something once again.
And Robbie Gordon's teammate, Dorsey Schrader, who's already won this championship, is slipping back. Halsmer's passed him, now Jeremy Dale has passed him, and Dorsey Schrader, for some reason, now is running back in 4th spot.
Well, Robbie Gordon, there is your leader, going through one of the tightest portions of this 1.6-mile, 10-turn road course. And now, there are 3 races on this racetrack at the same time in the over 35 cars that took the green flag. And the other category is AAC, All-American Challenge. Leading that is the number 10 you're seeing, the Beretta of Clay Young out of Smyrna, Georgia. This is one of the few championships in IMSA that has not been decided. But at the moment, if Clay Young holds his lead position in the All-American Challenge, he'll end up with the title at the end of the season, which is about a half hour or less from now.
Absolutely. Now, the other people that Dorsey Schrader, or rather Ford, would like to see, of course, would be for Pete Halsmer to be overtaken by Jeremy Dale, because that could easily squeeze young Robbie Gordon into 2nd place in the championship. Just a very few points between him.
Clay Young's Beretta, 15th, that graphic just showed you. Yes, it's 15th overall, but with one of the smallest motors in the class, he is also the leader in the All-American Challenge Series. Well, nice, smooth-talking Southern gentleman, too. Leitzinger, last year's GTU champion. Bob Leitzinger is in the pit area, and it looks like Chris Economaki is down there right now. Let's go to Chris.
Well, thank you very much. We're waiting for Bob to get his commercials on. What are you doing here so early, Bob?
Well, it seems we went over the sound limit. They have a 108 decibel sound limit, and for some reason we're exceeding it here where we haven't all year. And we made changes all week to make it quieter, but if we can't run quiet, we can't run.
And that affected both your cars?
I believe so. I haven't talked to David yet.
Well, that's the first time I've ever heard of a guy being out of an automobile race for being too loud. Back to you, Bruce.
Okay. I think it's a wave of things that might come in the future, especially as we go to these temporary sites.
Well, of course, the thing is that all these things really need to be thrashed out well and truly beforehand. a lot of the runners here this whole weekend have been having a lot of stick from the officials, and it really is rather insignificant and pretty petty, I think, to do that sort of thing. And if they're going to have that sound level set, it needs to be done well in advance, and these cars have to meet it. Simple as that. But it's no good telling them on Friday afternoon.
Leader has just gone by you. There is the second place car, number 1, Pete Halsmer, the number 1 Mazda. Now right behind him, strangely in his placement on the racetrack, is 00 Don Knowles. Don is one of our camera cars. In fact, our 2 camera cars are running right close to each other. But Don is leading the GTU category in that black and yellow Dodge.
Rather handily at the moment too. He jumped over the curb there at the apex of the turn 4 complex.
First and second place cars you're looking at now. There's Robbie Gordon, the number 9 Whistler Cougar, a Jack Roush car for those of you. Out of the race, Bob Patch, Troy Mueller, and Vic Manueli. Somehow I have a feeling there's a couple more of them that we haven't been reported. There they are. Price Cobb, Perry and Henry, and Bob Leitzinger, whom we just talked to.
Price Cobb was going incredibly well. He had qualified way down in 17th spot and was up to a very, very close 6th, about to take on that leading bunch of 5 cars earlier on, and suddenly he wasn't there anymore. So maybe our intrepid pit reporters will be able to find out what happened to old Price Cobb in his first ever GTO race.
For just a moment there was a great look inside the helmet of Robbie Gordon. This 21-year-old driver, you can't call him inexperienced. He's been driving off-road since the age of 14. And boy, he gets better every single time you see him on the pavement. Right around that corner, he comes on the throttle now, but here comes traffic, David.
There's second spot of Pete Halsmer, and here comes young Jeremy Dale in the Nissan in third spot. And there behind him is Dorsey Schrader. Dorsey Schrader, who had been going so strongly to begin with. He obviously must have some sort of a problem. Brakes could have given up a bit, anything could have happened.
Got to be limping a little bit. There it is. The number 76 car, as we pointed out, that's your 3rd place runner right now. Young Jeremy Dale, who competed here last year, if I'm not mistaken, in GTU category in the car Don Knowles is driving.
And the year before, he was here in the Barbasar race.
Yeah, guy keeps coming up and going faster every time he comes to Del Mar. There's a good look at the differential between them as they come down that front straightaway. Number 76 Dale running well.
When he ran here in the Barbasar race, of course, he was running against his hero Gregory Hobbs. But
through turn 2 they go, and again a look at Dale in the number 76 car. And what Chris was pointing out, the 76 car has really moved down a visor to cut sun going into the car. And the number 9 car cruising around in front of it all. Robbie Gordon having a sterling weekend. He wins Baja in a full-size pickup, and he's leading here now in Del Mar. Come on back and see if he can put that puppy in victory circle. We'll be racing in Del Mar when you come back to us.
GTU Challenge in Del Mar, California. That's the battle for 3rd, and it's been getting better all the way. Number 76, Jeremy Dale, holds 3rd. Dorsey Schrader has moved right back up against him, though. There's 15 minutes left, and Schrader's going better.
He is, isn't he? He just suddenly picked up whatever his problem was. He's either sorted it out or got used to it and is driving around it. And he's coming on now, and he's all over Jeremy Dale, as you would say, like a cheap coat of paint.
Underneath the Goodyear Bridge they go. That is the battle for 3rd overall on the racetrack, and 2 factory entries right
Whoa, Schrader seems to be quicker on the brakes there. Was that Clay Young there, number 10 car, the leader of the All-American Challenge?
If it was number 10, at the moment it just looked like another red car as we blew by it.
I think it was number 10. That is the leader of it. So that would change the complexion of the championship.
On AAC. We'll catch up with that one in a minute. As we want to point out once again, for those of you, there he is. Boy, we're about to do some fiberglass.
It's a seagull.
That is Clay Young. The number 10 car
lost the bonnet.
Was the leader in the All-American Challenge. I'll be checking my scores charts in a minute.
Go on, Clay, give it some stick, lad. That's it. Get good out of it.
Well, we're depositing parts all over the track.
There's 2 or 3 cars running here with sans front end. That is French for minus front end. Alan Prost would understand.
The closest points race of the whole weekend was between Clay Young.
The windshield popped out there.
Just let go right here in front of us.
Now we're getting real desperate. He hasn't got his goggles on, probably. Oh, he has.
Clay Young would lose the championship. There's fluids coming out. There goes the right front fender. This is kind of like watching a Beretta striptease.
Absolutely. Well,
now he's down to where there can't be much else fall off. That's right. The leader's got to come over this debris. Corner workers right here in front of us are thinking about going to retrieve that windshield, and one brave guy is going out on the track now.
All fluid leaking out the front too, which is going to make it slippery for him and slippery for everybody else. And of course, that debris can cut a tire down and change this whole complexion of the race very, very quickly.
The windshield has already been retrieved. In fact, Robbie Gordon, the leader, just went by that location, and a brave corner worker wearing a t-shirt that says absolutely no fear went out and got it.
Whoa! Is that Pete Halsmer going a bit wide there, or is it just the way that we were looking at it?
Well, we might get a chance to see it here in a second, but there he goes, flying by. Gordon, 4 wins already this season, as the graphic tells you, and a little tire smoke there as he comes to the kink in the road.
Oh, skating around, but Robbie Gordon is one of these young drivers who's got tremendous car control. I'm sure he'll be a great wet weather driver. That off-road and dirt track experience he's got has given him great car control, similar, of course, to people like Mario Andretti way back.
Now, watch Robbie Gordon, because you're going to lose him here in just a second, and then move back in on the second-place car of Halsmer. Number 1, Halsmer in the Mazda, who's never been far off the pace here today, but never had control of the event.
Well, I think to a certain extent, you know, the rotary engine Mazda there, on a tight course like this, he hasn't got quite that grunt low down that the bigger engine cars got. Waving there to the guy that he just lapped. I know how you feel, Pete. That's it. Give him a good wave.
Halsmer, the 1989 champion, as it says right there in the O category, coming through turn number 1, holding down the second-place position as they run at the moment on the track. There's a good look at Halsmer. Handsome lad.
Looks a bit shifty to me, I think.
Headed for the Chevron Bridge, he goes.
Of course he doesn't. He's a beautiful looking boy. He should be in films.
Well, I tell you, that's a pretty car, too.
As I was saying, the thing about the rotary engine cars, it probably doesn't have quite the grunt that the V6 turbo Cougars have got off these corners.
Del Mar, is Robbie Gordon going to hang on to it all? We're going to find out a little bit after this. Come on back and join us again. Number 9, Robbie Gordon, trying to cap off a beautiful season. He's trying to make an IMSA win number 5 in his rookie year here. And look behind him a ways. There comes Pete Halsmer in the number 1 Mazda. And Halsmer holding down that second place, just nibbling away at those points. The season's going to end on that pretty little car, though, and it won't be a number 1 on it next year.
Well, Robbie Gordon and Pete Halsmer, if they finish first and second like they're running it now, they'll both end up with 166 points.
Now, this was a gentleman who came into the weekend leading the All-American Challenge Series in the number 10 Beretta, Clay Young. But it is Mark Porcaro who may take that whole title away from him in car 11. They're both teammates. If you just joined us, you missed an interesting act by this Beretta a little while ago. In fact, let's go to the pit area to Mike Joy for an update.
Bruce, what a tough day for Clay Young. He started out the race with brake fading problems. That's how teammate Mark Porcaro went past him. Then Porcaro bobbled. Young went back to the front and had this shunt. The car has lost its windshield, and now it's leaking oil. The oil cooler has broken loose from its mounting, banging against the tire, and that's the fluid you described that's leaking from the car. They're hoping to hang it together for another, 7 or 8 minutes and see how many points go up on the board. But either he or teammate Mark Porcaro will be American Challenge champion. Shame they had to come 3,000 miles here to duke it out over a measly 8 points.
7 or 8 minutes right now to that car is like the 24 hours of Daytona. Let's move in. This is our battle on the racetrack. This is 76 Jeremy Dale, and right behind him, Dorsey Schrader, our early leader in this event. 76 Dale and Schrader are battling now for the 3rd place position, well off the pace of Halsmer holding down second.
Jeremy Dale, of course, qualified on the front row with his teammate Steve Millen. Steve Millen, unfortunately, was sidelined some time ago, and we're not quite sure what happened to his car yet.
There are only 5 cars on the lead lap. In 5th place is number 8, Les Lindley, a gentleman who very quietly motors around and gets things efficiently done. But the battle we focus on right here is the number 76 of Dale.
And Schrader.
And
of course,
Schrader.
Jeremy Dale and Dorsey Schrader are big buddies. In the old days, they both worked as instructors at the Skip Barber Racing School and Drivers School, so they've known each other for a long time and done a lot of work together. And the number 10 car there carves up Dorsey Schrader. Boy, he's making himself popular now. He's scoring points in all sorts of ways now.
All right, now we're busy. Moving around.
If that car really has got its oil cooler dragging, the officials here should black flag it. It's absolutely ridiculous to let it run with something like an oil cooler hanging off.
Robbie Gordon, the one having the lead Right at the moment, you can look back and see Hausmer coming after him, but I don't know if it is going to make it or not. Here's Robbie Gordon into turn 1. There's Hausmer coming on the brakes as he comes up on a GTU Mazda, smaller motor.
That's 38, that's John Finger. Pete Hausmer there, just got round the 38 car of John Finger. John Finger, who's lying second in the GTU Championship behind Lance Stewart, who's not here today. The championship's already been won. And Finger's closest competition was David Loring, who's another of those guys who got cut out with the noise. So John Finger in that number 38 car is in good shape to come second in the GTU Championship. Pete Hausmer running second overall in the race.
We wanted to talk to some of the key people and find out what was happening with Mazda and the future. So we went right to Mr. St. Ives and found out more.
We're working with Nissan, Toyota, and those people on the streets selling our products against their products, and we need to be racing against them. And that's our goal. We do have a key program that's in Japan that's raced at Le Mans for the last, for a great number of years. But we feel that program is not the program that we need here in the United States. We feel that the program that we need needs to be designed for the U.S. tracks, street courses such as Del Mar. And so it takes a different kind of a race car. That's why we want to make sure that when we hit the track, we're ready. And right now, what we're doing is putting all of our ducks in the row, so to speak. And Price is a key part of that. He's a great development driver, and we want to utilize his expertise. And same way with Pete.
Well, there you have it, straight from the horse's mouth. Development is the key in modern racing. It's a very, very high-tech affair, all racing today. And GTO looks like just sedan cars to you and I, but it is very, very highly advanced and high-tech cars.
Now, check this. This is the number 10 car. If he finishes in this position, we're told, he will tie with his teammate, Mark Porcaro. And if they tie, the number 10 car will be given the championship based on the total number of wins. But that's if he finishes in this position. And it looks like there's less car now, David, than there has been the whole race.
But when the smoke stops, watch out.
That is Clay Young in the number 10 Chevrolet Beretta. What's left of that number 10 Chevrolet Beretta as the time begins to count away. I mean, there's got to be some holes in the pistons or something by now.
Oh, God. Les Lindley going around there. Les and I duped it out in Trans Am a few years back.
And Clay Young is trying to limp that Beretta home to what might be a championship tie, and he may be awarded it overall on the total number of wins. But if another one of the All-American Challenge cars reels him in and drops him one more spot, that story's a dead one. Back on, Robbie Gordon. Wow. Robbie Gordon had a thrill right there. The race is winding down. Come on back for the checkered flag here in Del Mar right after this. The number 00 Don Knowles disappears out of your screen. Here is the battle for first and second place in the latter stages of this race. Robbie Gordon feels the heat as he looks back at the mirrors and finds Pete Hausmer's Mazda marching to him as the checkered flag is getting ready to fly. Not for a little bit yet, though.
Pete Hausmer definitely making ground with him there. He might have had some trouble in traffic. Of course, Gordon now has got to dispose of the 00 car, the yellow and black car there, the number 00 Dodge, which, of course, is leading the GTU Championship.
Clay Young into the pit lane. We've been watching him and wondering when there was going to be enough car, and he's finally stopped in the mechanics. Of course, they know exactly what they're going to do. Load it up.
They are going to clean it, that's for dead sure.
There's only, according to my unofficial watch, around 2 minutes or so left in this race, and that Clay Young came that close. Now, the other thing that my scorers are just telling me is, depending on how the American Challenge cars do finish, Clay Young could still tie for the championship sitting right there. We'll watch that scoring and see how it goes. Meanwhile, back on to your leader.
He'll get at least 1 point for trying.
Yes, Robbie Gordon out in front of it, but look who's right behind him now, a factor in the race all day long. As they catch traffic once again, here comes the number 1 Mazda of Hausmer.
Bad spot to catch that traffic for Gordon. As you can see, it managed to put Hausmer right onto him, coming down the back front straight here. Gordon not going to let him go into turn 1. He's been taking lessons from Ayrton Senna.
That was about a professional squeeze play, wasn't it?
It certainly was. But these days, all seems to be fair in love and war. When I started racing for a long time, there's just no way you could do that sort of thing. You couldn't actually just shove people straight to the wall. But it seems to be the rigueur today, and Pete Hausmer's going to have to lay back and try again. But he had a perfect opportunity there. The black car slowed up the leader, put him right into the clutches of Pete Hausmer, and Pete tried to capitalize, but Robbie Gordon was having none of it.
I'd like to remind those of you who are NASCAR fans watching your first or one of your few IMSA races, they do not white flag in IMSA. When it gets to the end of the assigned time period, it's a checkered flag the next time the leader comes by. Look at this move. Brakes on. Tires smoke a bunch, and Halsmer wants it from young Gordon.
The white flag is used in IMSA, but of course it means slow-moving car or slow-moving, truck on the track.
Yeah, not signifying
but it
one
doesn't
lap
mean
to go.
it's one lap to go, right?
In other words, we could all be surprised by the checkered flag right here. It depends on the exact official timekeeping as they come off of this corner. Checkered flag is in his hand. And who's it going to be? Look at this finish. It's going to be Gordon. Oh, by what kind of a margin of victory would you call that? One coat of paint?
One coat of paint. I would say there's no way you can judge that.
A happy Roush crew at the finish line. The 00 black and yellow Dodge. Don Knowles wins the GTU category, and right behind him at the line, third place in the GTO, number 76, Jeremy Dale. Oh, plenty good day. Look at this. As he's on the cool-down lap right now, Robbie Gordon, 2 races in 2 countries in 2 days. Not bad, David.
There's the 6th car. That's
Schrader.
Schrader.
Did he make it to the finish line? Yes, he made it just past. Take a look at this. He's not 50 feet past the finish line to be credited with the 4th place position. Boy, it's been exciting. We're going to be having a party, though. We're going to talk to the winners right after this. Come on back and join us in Del Mar for the party now. Del Mar, California, the season finale. The Chevron Challenge is now done. Robbie Gordon wins it. Pete Halsmer so close, but second. Jeremy Dale third. Dorsey Schrader fourth. And Les Lindley, the 5th place spot. Today's ESPN Speed World Race coverage has been brought to you by Nissan, built for the human race. And by NEC, a world leader in computers and communications. And brought to you by Mazda, it just feels right. Now let's join Mike Joy with Robbie Gordon, our winner, in the victory circle area.
Robbie Gordon, what a busy weekend and what a wild race, especially the finish.
Yeah, it was. The last 10 minutes, I just died off. I was out of energy for Mexico. I didn't get much sleep last night. I got a couple hours this afternoon. I really have to thank the crew. The Whistler crew did a great job. Mike, Bruce, everybody, Rocket. I want to thank them. They did a hell of a job. What more can you say? The Whistler Cougar was here, ready to go. All I had to do is show up and drive it.
But drive it. I mean, you run nearly a hard 1,000 miles here in 24 hours, and to hold off that Mazda at the end, what were you thinking that last lap?
Well, second gear was starting to go away a little bit, and I ran the tires off halfway through the race trying to get by Dorsey and Pete, and I just tried to hold him off, and that's what we did. We just held him off. I think he had a faster car at the end, but our car was wider.
Are you more tired or happy?
I'm happy and I'm very tired.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Boy, as you look at the rest of the results now, David, tired and happy.
He certainly did look extremely tired, but by that win, that gives him equal points with Pete Halsmer in second spot, and I think that is going to give, in fact, Robbie Gordon second point in the GTO Manufacturers Championship. So that's pretty good for him.
There's Clay Young, number 10. He ended up on the basis of most wins, winning the All-American Challenge, even though his car came apart for you on TV.
But as usual, it was another great GTO-GTU race. Lots of contact with each other, lots of contact with the wall, lots of rubber, oil, and tires and debris on the track. In all, good TV and great for the spectators here.
For Mike Joy, Chris Economaki, and David Hobbs, I'm Bruce Flanders. Thanks for watching.